in line with that tower. I'll do the rest.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're examining 10 movie stunts gone horribly wrong.
It's something you always hear happening to someone else, and then you think, oh dear, that's horrible, but you never think it's going to be you.
For this list, we'll be looking at the worst instances of stunt performers being injured or killed on the job. They must have been performing a stunt at the time, so mere on-set accidents will not be included. Do you remember hearing about these stories? Let us know in the comments below. A fatal bike riding accident. Deadpool 2.
They're headed into the tunnel.
I'm that kid's only hope, so sit tight and wait for my word.
Joy Harris was a professional motorcycle racer turned stunt woman who found work on Deadpool 2. She was doubling for Zazie Beetz, who played the mercenary Domino. However, Harris's role in the production was filled with flaws. For example, a safety inspection was not conducted beforehand, and Harris was not wearing a helmet at the time of the accident. Said accident occurred on August 14, 2017.
And this stunt actor was billed as the first African-American female professional road racer. She raced motorcycles for a living, but her family says this was her first time working as a stunt actor on a film set.
Harris was doubling for Domino and riding a motorcycle through the streets of Vancouver when she lost control of the bike and was thrown into a nearby building. She passed away at the scene. An investigation later proved that Harris was not at fault, but was a victim of fatal safety violations.
We're heartbroken, shocked, and devastated, but recognize nothing can come close to the grief and inexplicable pain her family and loved ones must feel in this moment.
New scare. Back to the Future Part 3.
Hey, McFly! Thought I done told you never to come in. Hey, you ain't Seamus McFly.
For this third installment in the beloved franchise, Marty and Doc make their way to the Wild West and get into various shenanigans in 1885 Hill Valley. Some of the actors performed their own stunts, including Michael J. Fox and Buford actor Thomas F. Wilson. Unfortunately, the decision nearly ended Fox's life.
We got ourselves a new courthouse! Hot time we had a hanging!
One scene sees Marty getting strung up by a noose and nearly losing consciousness before he's shot down by Doc. Fox later recounted in his memoir, Lucky Man, that the stunt went wrong and he was strangled for real. He even lost consciousness and was left dangling for several seconds before he was rescued. Luckily, he was not seriously injured.
Marty, you're gonna have to do something about those clothes. You walk around town dressed like that, you're liable to get shot. Or hanged.
Underwater trick. Now You See Me. Isla Fisher has something in common with Michael J. Fox. They both nearly died while everyone else was none the wiser.
When that timer hits 0, a tank full of flesh-eating piranhas will fall from above. A lady has to have handcuffs, right, girls?
Fisher was filming a scene for Now You See Me, in which her magician character is submerged in a water tank. As Fisher explained on Chelsea Lately, the stunt went wrong and she became trapped in the tank.
Even though I had a quick-release magnetic, thing on my handcuffs, the chain that went between my ankles and my wrists was not able to be broken, and it got stuck underneath the slat, and I was trapped.
She struggled in the water for nearly 3 minutes, but everyone believed she was merely acting. Fortunately, a nearby stunt performer realized something was wrong and pulled a safety switch, which quickly drained the tank of its water. Fisher was saved, and everyone realized with horror that she was not, in fact, acting. A near-fatal car crash. The Cannonball Run.
Good day. I am here to participate in your little jaunt to California.
Well, of course. If you would sign in here, please.
Based on a real event from the 70s, The Cannonball Run is a road comedy that sees a wide cast of characters racing across America. Unsurprisingly, the movie contains many car stunts. Unfortunately, one of these stunts nearly resulted in the death of performer Heidi Von Beltz.
That policeman seems to want us to stop, darling.
Yes, he must be rather upset with our rapid rate. Funny they don't have any sense of humor about that sort of thing.
Von Beltz was hired by her own fiancé, stunt coordinator Bobby Bass, and placed in a shoddy Aston Martin with stunt performer Jimmy Nickerson.
Wait a minute. Can you see where you're going?
Perfectly.
This is ridiculous.
The Aston Martin was supposed to drive between two oncoming vehicles, but the stunt was misjudged and Nickerson slammed head-on into one of the cars. Von Beltz broke her neck and was left with paralysis in all 4 of her limbs. Bass left Von Beltz following the accident, and she was later awarded over $3 million in damages. Stunt performer becomes paralyzed. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Head for the burrows. We'll rendezvous there. On the count of 3. Hold tight, Harry.
Despite all of its stunts, the Harry Potter franchise made it to the penultimate entry before a horrible incident occurred. David Holmes had served as Daniel Radcliffe's stunt double from the very beginning, and this role continued for Deathly Hallows Part 1.
Hagrid, we have to help the others!
I can't do that, Harry! Mad Eye's orders!
Holmes was practicing a stunt at Warner Brothers' Leavesden Studios involving wires and an explosion when he violently slammed into the ground. Holmes was left with paralysis by the accident. He immediately knew that something was wrong, and he told first responders that he couldn't feel his legs. Holmes retired from the movie industry and now runs a podcast called Cunning Stunts, in which he interviews other stunt performers.
It's a life-changing experience, a spinal cord injury, and the best thing about this place is they learn to give you your life back again, and that I'm very thankful for all the staff that work here. It's the best place in the world for it.
Dragged by horse comes a horseman.
Sorry all this had to happen, but sometimes things just work out that way.
Released in 1978, Comes a Horseman is a Western drama starring the incredible cast of Jane Fonda, James Caan, and Jason Robards. The latter plays J.W. Ewing, who in one scene is dragged from his ankle by a horse.
You best get out of here, J.W. I never wanted it to happen this way, but you left me no choice.
This stunt was performed by Jim Shepard, who tragically died in the attempt. The horse went slightly off course while filming the stunt, causing Shepard's head to slam into a fence post. He was quickly airlifted to a nearby hospital, but eventually passed from his injuries. The footage of Shepard's fatal stunt actually made its way into the movie, but the accident itself is not seen. Parasailing Under a Bridge. XXX.
I've risked my life for a lot of stupid reasons. This is the first one that makes sense to me.
This is not one of your stunts.
A more extreme version of James Bond, XXX stars Vin Diesel as an NSA spy named Xander Cage.
Nothing like fresh powder.
Diesel was allowed to perform many of his own stunts, but the more outrageous acts were done by professionals. This includes a stunt in the movie's climax, which sees Cage parasailing behind a boat and flying under a bridge.
I wish I had a video camera!
What you talking about?
This is gonna be one hell of a trip.
This stunt was performed by Harry O'Connor, who completed the first take without incident, but the second attempt went awry when O'Connor struck one of the bridge's pillars. Unfortunately, the resulting injuries were severe, and O'Connor died as a result. The movie was subsequently dedicated to him, and his completed first take can be seen in the finished product. 42-foot fall. Vampire in Brooklyn.
I've been having these really strange feelings.
Strange feelings, you tossing?
Yes, and I just felt that I needed to talk to someone that I could trust.
Oh, yeah, then you come to the right place. Come on.
A cult classic dark comedy, Vampire in Brooklyn was directed by Wes Craven and stars Eddie Murphy in various roles, including a vampire named Maximilian.
I know it's terrifying at first.
I'm past terrified about half an hour ago.
Stunt performer Sonia Davis was doubling for Murphy's co-star Angela Bassett, and one stunt required her to fall 42 feet onto a giant airbag. The landing went poorly, with Davis bouncing off the airbag and into a nearby building. She subsequently missed the airbag on the way back down and slammed into the ground. She spent 2 weeks in the hospital, but eventually died of her injuries. Davis's family went on to sue the filmmakers and producers for $10 million. Riding a bike towards the camera. Resident Evil, the final chapter.
You can't use it! You can't escape!
As its title suggests, the final chapter is the concluding entry in Paul W.S. Anderson's horror series. Unfortunately, the franchise ended with a horrific accident involving stunt performer Olivia Jackson. Jackson was doubling for star Mila Jovovich and was required to drive a bike at high speed towards a camera. In a fancy visual flourish, the camera would move out of her way just in time. However, the stunt went wrong and Jackson collided with the operating crane. She suffered many brutal and permanent injuries, and the damage caused to her left arm resulted in its amputation. She successfully sued the producers for their negligence and was forced to retire due to her injuries.
I'd love to make everybody aware of these situations like this, so that they can take better care of themselves again, so that it doesn't happen again.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Running Under a Helicopter. Twilight Zone, the movie.
Mr. William Connor, whose own blind hatred is about to catapult him into the darkest corner of the Twilight Zone.
Perhaps the most notorious movie accident in history occurred while filming Twilight Zone, the movie. The stunt in question saw actor Vic Morrow carrying 2 child performers through a shallow body of water while a helicopter flew directly above. Meanwhile, explosions shot off in the background to add drama and a sense of spectacle.
I'm American! I'm American! I'm American!
Unfortunately, one of the explosions caused the helicopter to lose control and it landed directly on top of the actors, killing all 3 almost instantly. Director John Landis and a number of others were brought up on charges of manslaughter, but were all acquitted following a lengthy trial.